Assalamualaikum. Good morning, everyone, wherever you are. It's about 7:58 a.m. here in Malaysia. We are going to start the presentation exactly 8 o'clock. The first presenter will be Dr. Noreen Noor Abdul Aziz. She will be presenting on purchase intention for halal cosmetic product among TikTok application users in Johor. All right. So please remember you are only given 10 minutes or less to present and 5 minutes for Q&A. We will strictly keep to the time and I will remind you 1 minute before your 10 minutes up. All right. So it is now 7:59. Dr. Noreen, if you are ready, we
Okay.
will start at exactly 8 o'clock.
Okay, Prof.
It's Saturday. Everybody's rushing for weddings like me, etc. Okay, if you are ready, we are. Dr. Noreen,
Yeah, I'm ready.
sure, the field's yours.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much to our chairperson, Professor T.S. Dr. Rugaya. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And also good morning to Prof and all the presenters. Before I start my presentation, let me introduce myself. My name is Norino binti Abdul Aziz from Faculty of Business and Management, UiTM Segamat Johor. I'm here to represent my group members, right, consisting of Muhammad Hafizan, Shahira, and Rusnani from UiTM Segamat Johor, together with Dr. Nuliana from Universitas Lancang Kuning, Pekanbaru, Indonesia, with the title of Purchase Intention for Halal Cosmetic Product among TikTok application users in Johor. Okay, before I start, okay, let me share with you the main idea of this research. Yeah, so this research basically tells about the halal cosmetic. Okay, halal according to the Said and Nazura 2011, halal defined as something that is permissible and allowable as stated in the Quran, while cosmetic means articles intended to be applied to the human body for cleansing, okay, beautifying without affecting the body. This is actually will be our main idea lah for this research. Yeah. In Malaysia, there are two bodies that are responsible to monitor the halal issues. The first one is JAKIM. Okay, JAKIM stands for Jabatan Kemajuan Islam Malaysia and was established in the 1st January in 1997. JAKIM basically responsible in issuing the halal certification, especially for the import and export product, while HDC stand for Halal Industry Development Corporation. HDC basically responsible to promote not only for the healthy lifestyle, but also the clothing and other activities that related to the halal product. Yeah. Okay. So here we go to the research problem. Okay, before that, I would like to share with you about the main issue. Yeah, here the first one would be the Malaysian exported about 1.85 million cosmetic and also personal care, and we know that the Muslim population is projected to be 22.8 million in 2030. Thus, this is actually explain that, okay, there is a demand for the halal product, especially among the Muslim people. Okay, according to Swedi et al. 2010, the demand of safety and high quality of halal cosmetic product was increased. Yeah, so this is due to the halal master plan that was introduced in Malaysia. Okay, started from 2008 until 2020. That explains that that is a need for the Malaysian to come up with the halal product, okay, to produce the halal product and to represent or to represent the location that preferred to the halal product, yeah, especially for the industry. So this is actually the main concern why we need to study about the halal specifically for the cosmetic product, because we know that in the market there are so many cosmetic product, but the issue is that whether the product is halal or not. Because here we want to see that the meaning of halal itself from the whether the product actually give a safety or the purity towards the customer when use it. Okay, moving on to our next slide here. Our main objective of this research basically to identify the influence on attitude, subjective norm, perceived behavioral control, and knowledge towards the intention to purchase halal cosmetic products among consumer. There are four independent variable. Okay, the underpinning theory here will be the theory of planned behavior. Okay, consisting of attitude, subjective norm, and also perceived behavior control. So attitude here basically asking about the belief and the judge of the product. So this is more on the idea how we see the halal cosmetic product. Subjective norm basically asking about the belief of others in viewing this product, while perceived behavioral control is the level of the control towards the behavior. How actually we control our behavior, okay, especially when we are Muslim, how we control our main behavior towards the halal issues. If you want to purchase a product, then how we see the halal certification, the halal product, and so on. Right. The next one is our new additional variable, namely knowledge. Knowledge basically refer to the understanding of the consumer regarding the halal label. So this is actually our independent variable for this study, while the intention basically refer to the feeling of uncertainty, feeling of certainty that related to the purchase halal cosmetic product among consumer. So this is our literature review. Okay. There are so many past research that come up with the study on the halal, right? But we know that basically most of them come up with the standard, a standard variable. Okay, especially here we have like Haq et al. Okay, they come up with the original TPP with the standard, religiosity and others, right? Okay. Moving on to our next part. This is actually the main important part for this chapter, the research methodology. Okay. Our population for this research basically was the 100 respondent. Okay, were the 100 respondent from among the TikTok users in Johor, and the data were collected from the 1st March until the 31st March in 2023. Okay, so we are using the simple random sampling under the probability technique. Simple random sampling meaning that they are the equal chances of the respondent are being selected. So our main concern for this research is TikTok users that live in Johor. So that's why we start our question with the question: are you a TikTok user? Do you have any TikTok users account? And that is the first question. While number two is, are you live in Johor? This is actually our main what we call it specification lah, where we want to choose our respondent. So for the statistical analysis here, we are we use a SPSS version 25 that there are descriptive statistic, Pearson correlation, and also regression analysis. Okay, this is our background of respondent. So from what we receive from the analysis, what we receive is that the gender, especially for the male and female basically contribute to the highest percentage. They are here, they're 69%, and then followed by age. Okay, majority of them come from the age of 30 to 39 years old. And for the education level, most of them basically come from the bachelor's degree. Next one, okay, the Pearson correlation analysis. As you can see here from the Pearson correlation analysis, all tested variables were positively and significantly correlated between the variable where the p-value is less than 0.01. So it means that all the variables have a strong association with each other lah. Pearson correlation basically is to test the relationship between these two variables, between independent and also dependent variable. Moving on to our multiple regression analysis, as you can see here for the multiple regression analysis, okay, if you see to the if you refer to the standardized coefficient, so it is highlighted that subjective norm is the most influencing variable, because the score for the beta is the value of 4.399, also the beta value of 0.377. So this is actually considered as the highest compared to other variable.
Noreen, you
Okay.
have 1 minute left.
Oh, okay, all right. So this is our conclusion. So in conclusion, okay, this is meet the objective where the result of this study shows that there are 4 direct causal relationship. So it shows that attitude, subjective norm, perceived behavior control, and knowledge significantly related with the intention to purchase halal cosmetic product. And this result actually also provide the further insight into potential marketing strategies, especially for the halal cosmetic product manufacturer and also the prospective halal cosmetic industry in Malaysia. Yeah. With that, I end my presentation. Thank you and Assalamualaikum.
Thank you, Dr. Noreen. Anyone here have any questions for Dr. Noreen? I have one question. Why TikTok? Why not IG or Facebook?
Okay, thank you very much, Prof, for your question. For your information, basically, we know that there are so many media social platform, okay, Facebook, Instagram. Okay, why I choose TikTok? Basically, TikTok is considered as one of the most popular media social, okay, nowadays, especially among the teenagers. So that's why I search for the TikTok application users, especially because they like to shop, okay, to the, they like to purchase a product, especially to the TikTok shop. That is actually the
Yep,
main reason. Yeah, I
yep,
choose the TikTok application media
yep.
social.
That's a good answer because Cairo Amin said the same thing.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Noreen.
Okay,
Since there
Prof.
are no more questions from the audience,
Okay, Prof. Thank you very much, Prof. Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum salam. All the best.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's go on to the second presenter, Ms. Ismayani Sadin. Are you here, Ismayani?
Yeah, Prof, I'm here.
Yeah, could you upload
Okay.
your slides, please? Noreen, are you still here?
Yes, Prof. I'm here.
Was the Indonesian member around when you presented?
No.
No, okay, that's okay. Thank you.
Okay, right. Thank you.
Ismayani, if your foreign presenter is around, please identify. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Hasliza, are you here? Dr. Nusaadatun is not around. Maybe Hafini is here, but
No, your international author, is he or she around?
if I'm not mistaken, no.
No, okay, that's okay. All right, Isma, you
Okay.
can start presenting for 10 minutes.
Okay.
The floor is yours.
All right, thank you so much, Prof. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum to all. My name is Mayani and I'm representing my team members. I would like to present a survey titled Exploring Marketing Elements that Shape Brand Awareness in a Service-Oriented Sector. So actually this survey is a research project funding from industrial grant, and we did this survey at 21 Grill Sdn Bhd. It's a cafe based in Perak. So my presentation will include introductions and so on, key literature review, methodology, and so on. Okay, so for the introduction part, the dynamic economic landscape has led to changes actually in business adapt and customize their strategies to align with this shifting trend in consumer spending. So specifically, industry with service orientation such as food industry have experienced significant transformation in response to this evolving consumer behavior. So business operating in food sector must not only focus on delivering high quality product and services. So however, this sector experienced a downturn from 2017 to 2022, and plus some more due to pandemic-related operation constraint in the industry in 2020, 2021. So beside that also, this industry encountered challenges in attracting consumer and adapting to the market competition. So according to a global data, in Malaysia, for instance, 3.5% of SMEs fail within 2 years and 54% stop their operations within 4 years. So some factor that cause perhaps fail or problem in attracting consumer, coping with the market competition, and also to increase the brand awareness. So therefore, we have conducted a survey at 21 Grill Sdn Bhd to study what are the relationship between the marketing elements, stated social media marketing, advertising, price, and product towards the brand awareness. Okay, so just a little bit about the literature review part. Many past research reported or resulted related to marketing elements towards the brand awareness. For example, according to Valentini, according to Raza and Shamsuddin, stated that brand awareness can be improved towards or through social aggressive, okay, and also communication, help to improve communication, especially in advertising and participation in any event or sponsorship program. So according to Raza and Shamsuddin. Beside that also, Karibi and Nagribi also mentioned several benefits of social media marketing that have impact on SMEs, such as building awareness, reduce marketing costs, and so on. Apart from that, advertising also has a significant impact on the market awareness, and research conducted by Lay 2022 stated that product characteristic directly can affect actively consumer to participate in brand awareness. But however, according to Chattopadhyay 2010, mentioned that there is no relationship between price and brand awareness. So thus, the following hypothesis is suggested. Okay, 4 independent variables: social media marketing, advertising, product, and price towards the brand awareness. Okay, next for the research methodology. So this study used a quantitative survey in order to test the relationship between the marketing elements and the brand awareness. Data collection was done through face-to-face session actually with the customer who purchased food from the 21 Grill Cafe. And we did this survey for about 2 to 3 weeks to collect the questionnaire. So at the end, the survey managed to generate 125 usable questionnaire. Okay, so data collection was measured using the structural equation models, and how we operationalizations of each variable is based on the available instrument from the prior relevant literature. Okay, for the result, so this is table 1. Okay, the degree, illustrate the degree of construct and the outcome of multicollinearity test. So the results show the value range at 5.54 to 6.17 indicate that all the variables fall in the range of 4 to 7. High to very high. So it means that it signifies that the data study is devoid from the multicollinearity issues. Okay, for this next table, okay, so just a second here. Okay, so the second table next is the value of weighting factors and composite reliability for each construct. So the items show value of more than 0.7 for the validity standard as required for the construct. Meets the convergent validity, and then for the second part is the high internal consistency, show the value of more than 0.8, and the AVE value show, just a second, 0.714 to 0.855, which exceed the criticals value of 0.50. Okay, and the third table is the result for answering the hypothesis, which is reveal significant outcome through the hypothesis testing conducted using smart PLS path model analysis. So it showed that all the variables with the significant and positive as stated in the beta and also p-value for social media marketing, advertising, price, and product. Okay, and after all the hypotheses receive support from the result, and the incorporations of brand awareness into the analysis contribute 75.6% of the variability observed in the dependent variables. For the conclusion, so the result presented earlier indicate that all the independence variables significantly influence the customer to visit to 21 Grill in this context. So service-oriented enterprise must digest from our points of view and discussion the current situation and initiate a business growth pattern. So the business operator need to continuously promote the product and communicate to the market without fail in order to keep the brand blooming and create more intention either to current or new customer. So social media has been acknowledged for the value it created. For example, transactionals, informationals, and relational value. So the restaurant owner should think about hiring perhaps permanent staff to handle social media pages so that total concentrations and respond to the inquiry posted about the product so can be attended. So social media practices such as IG pages, the FB, TikTok, or even blog will be the intermediaries platform that the company must fully utilize to attract customer. Okay, specific awareness campaigns can be done whether based on types of products or in conjunctions of sales promotion in order to increase sales. In addition, restaurant owner need to ensure that communication is available at all the customer touch point. So the customer service should be ready, should be talented, no, sorry, not talented, trained. So should be trained to get closer and contact with the customer to turn it into
We have
actions.
1 minute left.
Okay.
1 minute.
Last but not least, food demonstration, testimonials, price reductions, and new menu should be used in advertising activity. So with that, thank you so much, Prof. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, audience, do you have any questions for Isma? Okay, I have one question.
Okay.
You have here service-oriented sector. Is it possible to have the key marketing elements for product-oriented sector?
Social media marketing. Social I think yes. Because it's social media marketing. Perhaps it can help also, Prof, because through our discussion. Oh, for product, Prof, for product, right, Prof? Okay, so
you see, yeah, for product. You have here services. I wonder if you have one, if you can use the same elements for products.
Prof, I can tak clear, Prof. Ada putus-putus, Prof.
For products, can you use that for products? Barangan.
Yeah, sure. It can be used for product.
Okay. Anyone else? Any questions? If you don't, we shall thank Puan Isma Yani for a wonderful presentation and all the best, Isma.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Sorry, not really can really hear you. Thank you so much, Prof. Thank you all.
All right, let's go on to the third presenter, Associate Professor Dr. Hazliza. Are you around?
Yes, I'm here, Prof. Thank you.
Okay, please upload.
Okay, hang on. Can you see my slides here?
Yes, I can.
Alhamdulillah. Assalamualaikum and very good morning to the Honorable Chairperson, Prof. Rugaya, and also to all participants in this conference session today. All right, I'm Dr. Hazliza Harun from University Technology Mara Perak campus. And the title presenting on is the role of brand awareness on marketing and purchase intention in service-based business. And these are all my co-authors for this research, Dr. Nisa from FBM Shah Alam, Mrs. Izjani Saadin from Perak campus, UiTM Perak campus, Hafini Suhana Ithnin from UiTM Perak campus, and Rai Rake Setiawan from University Ahmad Dahlan Jakarta. All right, so as an
Is your international author?
He's not around, Prof.
Is your international author in here? Okay,
It's not around. All right, okay. So as for the introduction, we are looking into the intention to purchase for the service-based businesses. And specifically, we are looking into the restaurant business. So we are looking into a rather small business, but it has few branches in Perak. It started a few years ago, and however, it expanded into few branches. Recently, the business faced a bit downfall on its sales and revenues, and therefore this research is conducted to look at whether those independent variables that we're looking at, basically the key marketing variables, are significant in influencing their intention to purchase. And also we look at the role of brand awareness, whether it could enhance the intention to purchase among consumers. So the scope is basically for the Manjung and Kampa outlets, because those are the two outlets that faced issues in terms of their sales and revenues. So we know that with post-pandemic, we know that consumers' consumption patterns has switched from offline to online and probably back to offline. But we know that consumer behaviors may continue on purchasing via the online platform. So this research is conducted to see whether consumers maintain with the online delivery services, and we would like to see whether the key marketing variables, as mentioned earlier, play a role in influencing the purchase patterns of the consumers. Right, so these are the literature reviews that we have gone through. So basically, we know that social media, in terms of social media, it plays a large role in enhancing brand awareness. So one of the article by Bengtsson and Johansson mentioned that social media usage attributes a major role in everyday life of everyone, every industry. And various platforms of social media, we have TikTok, we have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have blogs, a website. Okay, and by Karimi and Nagibi 2015 mentioned that social media marketing, social media platforms and website to endorse their products and services, interact with their clients, access target markets, and so on. So this company, they're basically new a few years back, and therefore they are not quite rigorous with their social media activities yet, as when we conducted the research. We know as for the advertising, there are online and offline advertising platforms and methods that companies can use to proceed with their doing here. All right, and these are the further literature reviews for the brand awareness and purchase intention. All right, so this research was conducted via primary method. We collected the data using the questionnaires, face-to-face and online method. And the total population is about 1,200 population, and using the Rausa calculator, the sample we collected from samples of 125 individuals that covered both outlets. And we proceeded with the PLS SEM to evaluate the data, to proceed with the data analysis. So we have all these independent variables in this study: social media marketing activities, advertising, price, and product as the independent variables, whereas brand awareness is the mediator in this study, and the intention to purchase is the dependent variable. So based on the table presented here, we can see that the mean value of the variables range between 5.78 to 6.29 between high and very high levels. And we can see the VIF has a low value of 5.0. Therefore, we could say that this study is free from any serious multicollinearity problems. All right, this is the results of the measurement model, okay, as presented in the table here. So we could see that the item loading is beyond 0.7, and the composite reliability is beyond all above 0.8, and the AVE is more than 0.5. So we could say that the variables under study has met the convergent validity of this research. All right, this is the discriminant validity results. All are well above 0, sorry, all are well below 0.9. Therefore, all constructs, could say that all constructs meet the discriminant validity criteria set. All right, this is the result of the structural model. Okay, so we can see that all variables has significant value, meet the significant value of P0 below than 0.05. So we have 4 independent variables hypotheses. Social media marketing has an influence on brand awareness. So from the results, we can see that social media marketing, advertising, price, and product have positive influence on brand awareness, whereas brand awareness also play a significant role in influencing the relationship between independent variables towards the dependent variables. So all hypotheses are supported, and we can see that brand awareness is crucial in enhancing restaurant in terms of restaurants consumers' intention to purchase. And therefore, companies must focus on understanding and researching their customers to develop better products and marketing strategies. So specifically, probably the customers need to enhance better or rigorous activities via their social media practice. As mentioned earlier, this company is a bit is quite new, therefore they were not quite aggressive in terms of the social media activities. So therefore, this research will provide recommendation to the company to invest probably and have specific administrator to handle their all online platforms or social media platforms. And also results also show that price, products, and advertising are significant in influencing the brand awareness of the consumers. So with that, I end my presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Hazliza. So we have about 20 participants online. Do you have any questions for the presenter? Dr. Liza, what's the name of the case study?
The case study is a role of
the scope of your survey.
Okay, we conducted the research on 21 Grill, Sdn Bhd.
How's the food?
To me, it's good. I've been, because we conducted research there, so we went there and eat. It was good. It's just that because they're fairly new, so when not many consumers are aware of the brand.
What's the menu like?
Western. They started off with Western food, but later because the sales and revenues quite dropped, so they proceeded with Thai food these days.
Yep. That should be the indicator of what the public wants to eat.
Exactly,
And then
exactly,
now with the price of rice going up,
exactly.
I wonder how they could survive.
Yeah, so from firstly they started off with 5 branches. From the latest that I know, they closed off 1 branch already in Ipoh, Greentown. So they are struggling. They're quite struggling with the season with the current economic condition these days.
Yep, yep. So last call. Anyone have questions for Dr. Lisa? No? Okay, thank you, Doc.
Thank
Have
you
a
very
good
much.
day.
All right, you too.
Next, Dr. Atira Muhammad Tan.
Yes, Prof, I'm here. Wait.
Okay, get ready.
Okay, I share my screen.
Dr. Atira's topic is on CSR activities in SMEs.
Yes, Prof. Can you see my slide, Prof?
Yep.
Okay,
So
wait.
if you are ready, we are ready. Please present.
Wait. I need to. Wait. Okay. Okay, good. Morning, everyone. My name is Atira. I'm from Malaysia, from Asia Pacific University. For today, I will present regarding the corporate social responsibility activities in small media enterprise in Malaysia. So the impact of theory of planned behavior factors to firm performance and the firm size as the moderator. For this paper, we have 4 authors here. Me as the main authors, Prof. Joan, Ms. Shazani, and Dr. Muhammad Shahid. Okay. Okay, for the background of the study, the definition of CSR or corporate social responsibility is referred to a company commitment to conduct its business in ethical and responsible manner that consider the well-being of society, the environment, and its stakeholders. In terms of the company, usually in Malaysia, most of the company, especially big company, the definition of CSR, they divide it into a few parts, which are environmental CSR, community CSR, workplace CSR, and marketplace CSR. But for the small company, some of the SME company, they still apply CSR, but they did not do it in the formal way. Okay, so in Malaysia, we have definition for SME divided into 3 parts: micro company, small enterprise, and medium enterprise. As we can see the definition in the slide here. So for the micro, sales turnover less than 300,000 and have 5 full-time employees. For the small enterprise, the sales turnover between 300,000 to 15 million, but the full-time employee between 5 to 75 employees, while for the media enterprise between 15 and to 50 millions the sales turnover, and the full-time employee between 75 to 200 full-time employees. For this study, one of the problem statement will be the most of CSR have found CSR study have focused on large enterprise. In Malaysia, also same thing as most study more to this large enterprise. Maybe because of most of the big company, they are more formalized doing the CSR activity and the data more easier to get. And then because this study focused to theory of planned behavior to apply in the CSR in the SME. So TPB has not been used comprehensively to examine how business engage in CSR. Yeah, TPB one of the well-known the theory, but in term of study in corporate social responsibility, still less study regarding this. And majority of this agreement were merely comparison study between SME and large corporation, but less between SME type. As this study, I will use the moderate the firm size. So this study more to compare between the group of the small company SME from that 3 group. So the research objective of this study to examine the relationship between TPB, theory of planned behavior factors, which are the subjective norm, perceived behavior control, and attitude toward behavior, to the firm intention and the firm sales activity, as well as the outcome with the firm performance from the sales activity among SME in Malaysia. And also I will add on the moderating impact on the first size on the relationship between the CSR behavior, which is the behavior of the company to engage in CSR activity, and the company performance. So for the literature review part, this is some of the article that show the relationship between all the factors, the three factors that the original factor from the theory of plan behavior. The first one relate to the attitude toward behavior stated by researcher here, Saleh Fedas, show that behavior-related attitude was a good predictor or intention to engage in social responsibility. So if the attitude of the leader interest to join to engage in social responsibility, it will increase the intention to engage it. And then the second one relate to subjective norm, stated by Kumar, Fedas, and Saleh here, claim that the owner or manager intention to engage in CSR will be positively impacted by subjective norm. Same business need to be mindful of the importance of the reference group and people perception. Also, for the last part, for the factors will be according to the managerial context of CSR, they appear to be competing barriers at the individual level factors that influence how managerial behavior and intention evolve. So the owner or manager desire to participate in specific CSR initiative would be considered by all these barriers. This is under the last factor, which is the perceived behavior control. While for the intention to the CSR activities, which is the behavior of the company to engage in CSR, some studies state that the higher intention increase the likelihood that a behavior will be carried out. It shows the degree to which people are willing to work to engage in the behavior and how hard they are willing to attempt. So in terms of CSR activity, more high the intention to engage in CSR activity, more high the behavior to apply the CSR activity. And then we have also the activity and the firm performance. In here, the few researchers also agree that positive impact on the performance of the company, SME firm, if they engage in CSR. They will increase in terms of, for example, like the employee performance or the firm performance. And for the moderator part, regarding the firm size, the stronger the relationship between CSR activity and the firm performance. The larger the SME, the more likely is for the SME to engage in CSR activity, as large SME have more resources, which make it easier for them to engage in CSR activity based on a few studies here. For the methodology part, I will apply the quantitative study using Smart PRS software and analyze using structural equation modeling, SEM. And then the respondent will be the population will measures SME firm, but I focus to the top highest 5 state in Malaysia that have highest SME firm, which are Selangor, Kuala Lumpur, Johor, Penang, and Perak. And the number of questions that were distributed 1545, and the final respondent that I get after cleaning everything is 362 respondent. And the questionnaire divided into two parts. Part A, demographic detail, and part B, the item for all the variables. This is the definition of theory of planned behavior. Regarding attitude toward behavior, subjective norm, and perceived behavior control are formed subsequently affecting the intention and motivation to perform a behavior. In this case, to perform to engage in CSR activity. And this is the framework. The earlier part of the framework will be the original TPB framework, and this study add on the firm performance as the output and the moderator as the firm side as the moderator between CSR activity and the firm performance. And for the result, as I using the Smart PRS, so for all the from the all the item for this all the variable divided into two, which we have formative and reflective variable. So for the left one here will be for the reflective model. Reflective table, which are the construct for CSR activity, intention, attitude toward behavior, subjective norm, and perceived behavior control. While for the right one, for the formative, only one variable, firm performance. So for the, if you can see in the measurement model for at the left one, for all the factor loading here, AVE and the composite reliability meet the requirement that is acceptable, which is the factor loading is more than 0.4 acceptable for all here, and AVE is supposed at least 0.5. All here also meet in the table, and for composite reliability must more than 0.7 to satisfactory result. So all here also show the satisfactory result. And for this discriminant validity HTMT not exceed 0.85 If you can see in the table here, all not exceed less than 0.85, so acceptable the result. While for the right one will be the formative table for the firm performance. For here, for conversion validity meet the requirement, which is more than 0.8. But for the item here,
We have 1 minute left.
Oh, okay. So on I delete one item here, and the VIF meet the requirement. And for structure model, all meet the significant. That's mean all have relationship. Moderator also significant result. So from here, the result say all the hypothesis acceptable, and some discussion been here based on the result. And we have limitation, recommendation, and conclusion here. From this study, the study focused to the SME only for 5 states. So expected in the future study will increase to other state also. And the number, number for the micro firm, as we divide into 3 group of type of SME, but we need to combine between micro and small as the minimum number for the micro part. So suggest future study will balance the numbers of the respondent in terms of firm size. So the conclusion here, we can say that this paper provide new empirical evidence to offer the key contribution to the future of knowledge with regard of CSR and the performance of SME by studying the relationship between the factor, intention, behavior in the theory of planned behavior, and can extend the additional framework by testing the moderating factor of firm size on firm behavior and their performance. So therefore, this research among the field study to empirical test of all these variables in CSR engagement as a way of confirming the framework suggested by Azin. Okay, that's all for my presentation. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Dr. Tira. Okay, audience, any questions?
I have one question, Prof. Just
Yeah,
to
please.
clarify my understanding. I saw that, Dr. Atira, I saw that the firm size just now was tested as the moderating variable, right?
Yes.
So was quite fast just now. So what was the result? Did it play a role as the moderating variable in this framework?
Firm size, yeah, significant result. But like I mentioned in the limitation part, because of when we start to collect, suppose we need to divide into 3 groups: small, macro, small, and medium. But at the end of the day, when we finish collect the data, the micro is too small. So we combine in this result in combination between small and micro in one group, medium in one group. So I just compare for 2 groups. So this is my limitation of my research.
All right. Thank you for that explanation.
Welcome.
Dr. Tira,
Yes.
you sent out more than 1,000 surveys, but you
Yes.
received a very low response rate. What's the reason for the low response?
Okay, Prof, thank you for the question. Okay, as my respondent will be the organization, that's company. So each SME, actually, I only can collect 1 or maximum 2 respondent, mean that the owner or the manager only, because the respondent must be the one that can represent the company to answer regarding the CSR activity, not the others type of employee. So because of that, I sent to many company SME firms, but but still it's some SME firm, they not reply. Some of them I need to many time to contact them and ask them to answer it and give back to me, but I have a difficulty in terms of that. So I try my best for get it, and this is the final one I can get it.
I understand that. I did research on SMEs too.
Yeah.
Same thing happened.
Yeah, I only can get more respondent when I go to the something event. That I can get more respondent. If just email,
Physically.
I cannot
Yep.
get it.
Okay,
Difficulty to get
Dr.
it.
Tira, thank you very much.
Okay.
Wonderful presentation.
Welcome, Prof. Thank you.
All the best.
Thank you.
So we'll go on to the next presenter, Ms.
Prof, excuse me, there's hand raised.
Yeah. DK Halim.
Hello.
Yes. Do you want to
Hello.
ask?
How are you?
Good.
I will join the conference by Monday, in Bali.
Monday.
Okay. My question to the presenter, I'm just curious, why do you pick TPB rather than TRR by Arsen? Simple question.
Rather than
TRR, Theory of Reason Action. It is also developed by Arsen.
Yeah, because there's a theory of reason action only two, right? If I'm not mistaken. The factors, if I'm not mistaken, TPB add on the attitude, I think. I cannot remember that thing. But because the theory, yeah. But also I want to look the complete one, all the factors. That's mean in terms of attitude also, because the attitude, the subjective norm, that's mean anything pressure to give by the others people to make them to engage society, and also the facility, everything that they have. So all these three, I think more is the complete one based on my literature review. So I more choose to the PB. And also when I do the previous research, I checked that most of TPB is the well-known study, but in terms of CSR still lack regarding study to study to apply TPB in the CSR, especially in Malaysia when I do my study in SME firms. That's why I'm more focused to TPB actually.
Okay. Thank you. That's it.
All right,
Okay.
thank you, everyone. Let's move on to the next
Guy?
presenter. Yeah.
Prof. Guy, DK Halim will be the keynote speech on Monday.
Okay. Okay.
Speaker. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
See
you.
you,
Thanks.
see you on
Thanks.
Monday.
Thanks,
See
Yeah.
you,
Prof.
Diki
Halim.
Halim.
Yeah. See you on Monday.
Yep.
All right, Miss Hu Linang, are you ready?
Yes, that's ready.
Okay, put up your slides, please.
Yes, can you see my slide?
Yes, we can. So you can
Yes.
start whenever you are ready.
Yes, okay. Good morning, everyone. My topic today is the efficacy of the inquiry-based learning teaching approach in EFL, inferential reading comprehension among Chinese high school students. Our topic includes 6 facets: background, literature review, objectives, methodology, findings, and culminates in a discussion inclusive of our conclusions and recommendation. And so first, let's look at this literature review. And we will anchor our understanding through 3 lenses. First is the role of inferential skills in EFL reading comprehension. Reading comprehensions in EFL is more than mere word recognition. It's a deep cognitive journey. Inferential skills from its bedrock, helping learners grasp hidden informations and delve deeper into the complexities of EFL reading comprehension passages. And challenges. Second is the challenges in EFL reading in Chinese high schools. The dominant teaching paradigm remains traditional, emphasizing rote learning over critical interpretation. And this teacher-centered approach results in passive student engagements in the classroom and leading to a development gap. And the third is the advance of inquiry-based learning teaching approach. The IBLT approach stands in stark contrast to traditional methods, catalyzing a revolution in EFL inferential reading comprehension. Initial feedback is promising, but there is a gap that is more research is essential. And so let's move to some okay, just as about the research background, and then we go to review of the literature. And reading comprehensions in EFL is a composite of text analysis and holistic language assimilations, as echoed by multiple scholars. And EFL inferential reading comprehension skills includes not only reading on the surface, but also beyond the lines. And this enrich their learning, their language, but also their cultural backgrounds. And the third is the traditional EFL pedagogy in China. The prevailing trend lands heavily on teacher-driven methods, sometimes side-lying and analytical skills and so on and so forth. And next is about the IBLT approach. It is a student-centered approach, different from the traditional one. IBLT prepares learners to earn more curious and engaged reading comprehension experience. And in China, budding early signs of IBLT's effectiveness in Chinese EFL spheres are evident. And also, and there is a gap in the literature. We found an empirical study gap on IBLT's direct influence on EFL inferential reading among our targeted group. This gap essentially underlies the urgency and the relevance of our current research. So the aim of our study is to evaluate the effectiveness of the inquiry-based learning teaching approach in enhancing students' inferential reading abilities in reading in English text among Chinese high school students, and therefore to provide pedagogical strategies for the future teaching and studies. And also, and for these objectives, we have two primary goals. The first is to gauge Chinese high school students' current EFL inferential reading proficiency, and the second is to determine the impacts of IBLT on Chinese high school students' inferential reading abilities. And the research methodology, we embark on a quantitative research voyage with 98 second-year high school students and putting them into two groups. Experimental group receive IBLT instruction while the control use traditional methods. Before 9 weeks teaching interventions, each group undertook a pre-test and pre-questionnaire with differing teaching interventions succeeded by a post-test and another questionnaire. The statistical arsenals we employ primarily involve t-tests, ensuring ethical compliance throughout. And that is the findings. And the proficiency assessment, initial insights from pre-test and questionnaire underscore a pronounced proficiency gap among students, signaling an urgent need for intervention. And table one is t-test juxtaposed the experiments class and the control class. Each has 49 students based on PG variables in EFL inferential reading. Here, BG signifies diverse dimensions of EFL inferential reading comprehensions. The uniform non-significant t-values hints and analogous pre-test performance across both groups. Employee.
Hello? Yeah, Prof. Something wrong? Hello?
We can hear you, Prof.
But I couldn't see the presenter.
I think she's having problem with the internet connection, Prof.
I see. Thank you for voicing that out. I was wondering, I have 3 devices on and there's nothing. Okay. What shall we do then?
Or can we move to the next presenter, Prof, while waiting for her? Yeah.
Okay, the next presenter is Ms. Lee Chuangang. Multimodal discourse analysis. Are you here, Ms. Lee?
Yes, I'm here.
Mr. Lee, I'm so sorry, Mr. Lee. Okay,
No
if
problem.
you are ready, can you put up your slides?
Okay, let me share the slide. Okay, can you see the slide?
Yes, we can. Thank
Yes.
you. So you can start presenting now, Mr. Lee.
Okay. Very good morning. It's my great honor to have a presentation here. The title of my presentation is Multimodal Discourse Analysis Theory Applied to Senior High School English Reading Instructional. Now, let's get started from the introduction. As we all know, multimodality is a theory of social semiotics that focuses on modern communication, it involves using various semiotic modes of resources to convey a message. And also we know multimodality is present in all aspects of human life. In communicating, gestures, movements, and facial expressions can significantly impact how information is transmitted and received between individuals. Now, in senior high school students, reading in English is crucial for high school English language learners to improve their literacy skills. English teachers must possess strong research skills and a solid theoretical foundation to effectively incorporate multimodal teaching with reading instruction. The study applying the theory of multimodal discourse analysis in high school English reading classrooms is particularly important in engaging students, improving their learning efficacy, and promoting their overall development. The aim of the study, in the study, it is to determine if there are differences in classroom performance between traditional teaching methods and those guided by the theory of multimodal discourse analysis. There are three research questions in the study. The first one is, can multimodal teaching in English reading in senior high school improve students' class attention and learning efficacy? And AQoL, how does the multimodal English reading teaching mode differ from the conventional mode in improving high school students' reading skills compared to traditional approaches? And the third one, what about the multimodal teaching in high school English reading classroom to enhance the students' multiple literacy skills? About the literature review, the literature review is about the multimodal discourse analysis. Now, it can be divided into two categories. The first one is the internal construction perspective. As for the discrimination of relevant concepts involved in the theory of the multimodal discourse analysis and the establishment and the improvement of the comprehensive framework, those studies are aimed to further improving the theoretical framework at the academic level or exploring the relationship between modes rather than verifying the efficacy and roles of the theory in teaching activities. And the other aspect is the research on applying multimodal discourse analysis theory to teaching activities. Just like in this study, the research aims to study how to effectively apply multimodal discourse analysis theory to classroom teaching to cultivate students' multimodal literacy ability. Now, let's move to methodology. In the study, the first part is delimit the keywords of leading research questions of paper and frame the future research direction. Secondly, clarify the object of the study, confirm that the main body of the study is the students in grade 1 and the study type is an English reading course. Last but not least, the paper discusses the research method used in the research, which includes questionnaire, test, of course, pre-test and post-test, and also the classroom observation and interview. Next is the analysis and the discussion. To observe whether there is a difference in English reading level between the experimental class and the control class in senior 1. The experiment conducted a pre-reading test for the two classes at the beginning of the study. Now, after the experiment, a post-reading test was also conducted to determine whether the multimodal foreign language analysis guided English reading classroom in senior high school can improve or promote students' reading achievement. And before the data analysis, a standard distribution test was performed on the experimental and control class, pretest and post-test scores. This was done to ensure that the students' numbers and the scores met the prerequisites for various types of analysis, such as independent sample test, variance test, Pearson correlation coefficient analysis, linear regression analysis, paired t-test, and multiple post-comparison analysis. Upon discovering that the serial number and reading test scores of students in both classes met the normal distribution, we utilized SPAS 26 software to Excel table and Excel tables as table analysis tools to compare the reading test scores of both classes across 5 dimensions. And the findings are as follows. After conducting pre and post reading tests to both classes, it was discovered that the scores of both types have improved, but the experimental class showed a more significant performance improvement than the control class. The second is after conducting pre-test and post-test questionnaire for students in the experimental class, it was discovered that the English reading class guided by the theory of multimodal discourse analysis had a positive impact. And third, during the classroom observation, significant departures were observed between the experimental and control classes in their teaching approaches and methods. The practical course displayed a more cohesive and welcoming atmosphere with active student participation. As part of the research, the author conducted in-depth interview with 6 high, middle, and low students. This approach helped better understanding the students' perspectives on multimodal foreign language teaching, which complemented the quantitative research. Okay. Now, for the recommendations, first, for the teachers, it is essential for teachers to act as guides in developing students' diverse literacy skills. With help of the times, students can broaden their horizons, develop cross-cultural awareness, enhance national pride, and become a new era talents. Second, it is very crucial for the teachers to focus on practical application. Precisely in English reading class, teachers should aim to provide.
1 minute.
Okay, and sorry, the third one, it is vital for teachers to provide clear and accurate guidance. And the next one, it is essential for teachers to design their lessons with critical thinking in mind, And last one, it is essential for teachers to establish emotional connecting with their students. And for students should be encouraged to develop their problem-solving skills and should integrate into their class and enhance their listening interest in learning, and also should be independent and flexible and choose the best reading strategies according to the text. And students should be strive to translate text knowledge into practice. Okay.
The time's up, Mr. Lee.
Okay, thank you very much.
Can you wrap up the conclusion?
There are some limitations for the study. That is the number of the diversity of the research objects and the time of the limited and so on. Okay, thanks for the presentation. Please give me some advice. Okay.
Shasha, Mr. Lee, I have a question. For the reading part, the students, are they required to read out loud and to pronounce correctly as well as to understand the English contents?
Now,
Is that
actually,
required?
reading ability is a very important for students, especially the senior high school students. In my teaching process, I found the students have a lot of difficulty in reading comprehension. Now, I find in the class, some students have the enough vocabulary and oral presentation, oral skills is very good, but they can't deal with the reading comprehension problems very well. So I
That's
want to.
understandable because English is the second language. Am I correct?
Yeah. Second language is English.
Okay.
So,
does anyone else have any questions for Mr. Lee? We have about 17 participants online. Last call. If you don't have any questions for Mr. Lee, shall we thank him for a wonderful presentation?
Many thanks.
Yeah, sure. All the best, Mr. Lee. You're a good teacher.
Thanks a lot.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll move on to the next presenter, Ms. Lina Ramamurthy. Are you here?
Yes, I'm here, Prof. Thank you.
Okay.
Let me share my screen.
You can start when you're ready, all right?
Sure. So can you see my screen, Prof?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Right. Okay, a very good morning to the moderator, Prof, and to all the presenters today. So I'm Lina Ramamurthy. Together with me, the other co-authors are Nur Shamini Muhammad Nawi, Nur Hafiza Hussein, Shaidatul Maslina Ma'su'ad, Shakira Shafi'in, and Gihanugra Hadi. So today I'm going to present to you about a research entitled Online English Course to ODL, Open and Distance Learning, Instructors' Perspectives and Implications in Higher Education in Malaysia. Okay, first of all, we know that during the COVID-19 pandemic, all right, there was a sudden shift from face-to-face online face-to-face teaching and learning to online teaching and learning. So this sudden shift, during that time, it seems to be a temporary fix. But after the post-pandemic, we can see that there's a lot of potential of online teaching and learning because it is no longer a temporary fix, but it is a sustainable long-term option in online in teaching and learning environment. So for Malaysian higher educations, all right, recently Malaysian Higher Education Ministry of Higher Education stressed that hybrid and flexible learning system is something in right now. All right, we should work on this towards this. So ODL will be a part of it. And then the research of ours is we find the gaps in between when we work on the literature review and whatnot, we found out that there are very minimal studies on the instructors' perspectives and implications towards the ODL. The reviews that we have done, it is more on the students' perspectives and then they dwell on the factors and then the challenges faced by the students. So this brings us to the research objectives listed here. First one, we identified challenges in online teaching, and and the challenge that we identified, it's actually in line for what we could say is actually provide further insights for our other research at the same time. And then we managed to explore instructors' perceptions of the digital tools and resources. And we also investigating views on transitioning English courses to a fully fledged ODL. So this will be the literature review that we have done. All right, there's a lot of it. Because of time constraint, I'm not able to list out everything. Maybe afterwards you can refer to our full paper. But from what we have here is we would like to point out that the significant studies that we have found. So we look into the ODL per se. All right, what is ODL? So according to Ghosh et al. 2012, ODL have two main aspects. One is it involves teaching primarily conducted by instructors who are physically separated teaching, all right, from physically separated teaching from the learners. And then it enhances accessibility and adaptability across multiple facades. So, and then when we have done the ODL, well, it is actually something quite common, all right, for the private institutions, but it is something new for especially new in the public universities, public higher institutions in Malaysia. So we can see that there's a growing demand, especially in terms of the lifelong learning and flexible education. So this further proves that ODL is something worth to study further. And then we also look into basic operating system of ODL institutions. So ODL requires educators to effectively incorporate technology into teaching for student engagement. So this is something very important, all right, in terms of the technology. Technology is something very important when we talk about ODL. So this would be an area that, which is what we could say that it is an area that worth to explore further. And then language instructors face the dual challenge of technology and content delivery, creating obstacles in adapting to diverse language education needs. So previous studies focus more on the students' perspectives, like I said earlier. And then in terms of the implementations, Nasir et al. 2020 delved into the challenges faced by instructors. And then Bahar, Wahab, and Ahmad 2020, they study on online teaching approaches as well as Nair and Nesamani. And then what is limited in terms of this ODL environment is not many studies focus on the digital tools and resources on the, towards the ODL, open and distance learning. So this is why we come up, further motivate all of us to delve more into this area. So for these studies, in terms of the methodology, so we applied mixed method approach, quantitative and qualitative. So in terms of quantitative, we use descriptive analysis with 4-point Likert scale from one, strongly disagree, 2, disagree, 3, agree, and 4, strongly agree. And then instructors' perceptions and experiences with online English course delivery, including digital tools and resources. That one we also apply quantitative analysis. And then for qualitative analysis, we analyze thematically, all right, for the open-ended questions, and the instructors' qualitative insights. The answers that we gathered from the instructors' insights, it actually provides more on, give us more insights for the future trends online English courses. So there are altogether 46 English instructors from Malaysian higher education institutions that answered the survey, answered the questionnaires. So we sent out the questionnaires through emails to the public universities in Malaysia. Then we received the 46 responses from universities across Malaysia. All right, so this TAM, Technology Acceptance Model by Davis 1989, underpins the whole research. So we look into all this external variable, perceived usefulness, perceived ease of use. So perceived usefulness, how we look into how instructors perceive the usefulness of digital tools and resources in enhancing the quality of online English courses. And then when we delve into all this, we also found out the external variable that contribute to this study, which is external factor can be analyzed to understand its impact on instructors' attitudes and decision regarding the use of digital tools and the transition to the ODL mode. And then assess the ease of use of these tools, perceived ease of use, examining whether instructors encounter challenges in integrating them into their teaching methods virtually, and how instructors' attitudes toward digital tools and the ODL mode relate to their intention to incorporate these elements into their teaching practices. So in the end, we investigate whether instructors' intention to use digital tools and transition to ODL mode translate into the actual implementations, whether it is impossible, all right, all these digital tools and resources to be implemented in ODL mode, and then whether they would agree to transform, the English courses into fully fledged ODL mode. So this will be the findings and discussions. So first of all, we look into challenges encountered by Malaysian higher education instructors in the implementations of online teaching and learning. So there's a lot of problems faced that we trace. And then what is significant here is the technical difficulties in terms of the technology. All right, so there are altogether 80%, all right, mentioned that they face problems in terms of the technology, which
you have 1 minute.
All right. And then in terms of the second objective, all right, so we found out that the instructors, they actually have positive view towards the use of digital tools and resources in online language instructions. And then they are kind of familiar, they keep students engaged. So all they agree and strongly agree in terms of this, majority of them. And then we found out what is significant here is, although they are positive and they are kind of confident, but still they think that there's a need for upskilling and upgrading in dealing with online teaching and learning. They're altogether 72% strongly agree, 22% agree. So there are lots of digital tools and resources used by the instructors. So reasons influence Malaysian higher education instructors' willingness to embrace the transition of online English proficiency courses to a fully fledged ODL mode, and how they relate to the instructor's perspective towards technology adoptions and instructional design with the ODL framework. So we found out that, yes, they mentioned about technology plays a very important role, all right, in terms of transform normal proficiency courses into ODL mode. And then another significant things that we found out, the point that we found out is the instructional support, all right, responses given by the instructors. And for table 4, instructors' perspective towards technology adoptions and instructional design within the ODL framework. So
conclude.
All right.
Can you conclude, Lina?
Well, basically, majority of the instructors, they have a positive view towards transforming English proficiency courses into a fully fledged ODL mode. And then they also agree that they also respond that technology is something very important when we talk about to transform normal classes into fully fledged ODL mode. All right, so there are certain limitations that we have here because we only managed to get a small scale of samples. And then we also suggested few future research. And I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that's quite an insight into ODL, which some people favor and some do not, because of the glitches, technology glitches, and also because of the deep learning involved. Okay. Anyways, any of the audience would like to ask questions to Ms. Ram? I have a question. Would you say that age is also another factor with regard to adult learning? Because baby boomers, retirees are coming back to complete their education. So I don't think, staring at the PC a long time would be favorable to them because of the eyesight problem.
Sorry, could you please repeat? Because my connection is not clear.
Would you say that age is a factor in online learning for adult learners?
Adult learners. Because that one is not our research. We don't really delve into it, but then it could be something very, interesting to delve more. But then based on what we have read before this, I think, and then from my experience as well, I think it maybe, but it depends on what kind of their working background as well. All right, because I think like, if like normal people and then maybe they have certain problem, but it depends on their intentions as well. I think like, it is not just because the age per se, maybe there are other factors as well. So I'm not able to give an exact answers, but that will be something interesting.
Yeah, you should, because if you've been reading the news by the Ministry of Education, 70% of SPM leavers are not going into tertiary education. So the ones coming back are adult learners or retirees.
All right, thank you, Prof. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Okay, that was such an insight. Let's go on to the next presenter, Ms. Shahida Toll. Are you here?
Yes, Prof.
Okay,
Let me share the, yes, I'll share my slide. Can you see my slides?
Yes, I can.
Prof? All right, so I'll start first. So Assalamualaikum, a very good morning. So today I'm going to present our research project or a research which entitled Cyberbullying in the Social Media Environment, Investigating Young Adults' Experiences in Malaysia. So I'm the presenter, Shahida Tumasina binti Matsoet, together with our team members, Lena Ramamurti, Nur Syami bin Muhammad Nawi, Shakira Shafi'in, Siti Fatihah Abdul Latif, Suraida Muhammad Don from University Technology Malaysia, as well as Mr. Wandi Syafustra from Universitas Muhammadiyah Riau, Indonesia. Right, so let's get started to the introduction. So for the starter, when we talk about the cyberbullying in Malaysia, so cyberbullying has been identified by scholars and researchers as the use of online communication tools to harass, to threaten, or to harm people. Okay, and in Malaysia, the rise of cyberbullying and its psychological effects on victims are grave concerns in Malaysia. And it has been identified by UNICEF that Malaysia has been ranked as the second in the Asian, called Southeast Asia, in cyberbullying. So this is a bit, not a bit, but then quite worrying for Malaysian citizens, because I think every day the society have been on the social media platforms communicating and what's not. So this is actually a worrying problem. So besides this, studies have also shown that a significant number of young adults in Malaysia have experienced cyberbullying. And if we can see the data from the MCMC, so it shows that there are quite a lot of numbers of children, as well as significant numbers of young adults who have experienced cyberbullying, but then it's either they have reported these cases to the respective authority, and some of them, kept silence about this one. So the authorities doesn't really know about these cases. So this is actually one of the objectives of our research. And for another background is that for the frequencies of cyberbullying incident, it emphasized that there is a need for a thorough research and intervention, so that the problem of cyberbullying in Malaysia is, is take a step further or a step advanced, so that the society can start be aware of how this problem is actually a severe one. Okay, and next, for the research objective, we have about 3 objectives for our research. So the first one is that we would like to explore the experiences of young adults in Malaysia regarding this cyberbullying. And second is that we would like to investigate the language used in cyberbullying incidents among young adults in Malaysia. including the types of language used. Because in order to have this cyberbullying, of course, it comes from the what we call the listeners or the victims feel offended through what have been posted back to them, for example, through the tags, or even the bullies sent them disturbing images. So these all created all the cyberbullying scenes. And together with the language use, of course, the offensive language plays important roles here. And the third one is to know how young adults have experienced, to know how young adults have what we call handle cyberbullying and evaluates their awareness, the level of awareness of how they perceive cyberbullying and what have they do or what have they done before this once they have experienced cyberbullying. And the next one, for the literature review, we have done extensive literature review, and it was found out that most or the majority cyberbullying research in Malaysia focus more on the prevalence of the cyberbullying, as well as the a bit on the language use of how the offensive or hate speech and what's not has been used in cyberbullying. And there are some research or some studies that deals or tackles on the coping mechanisms, highlighting on what mechanisms you should do towards these groups of the victims, as well as there are as well some studies that highlights on the cyberbullying awareness and education. But basically, what we have for the studies on cyberbullying in Malaysia is, of course, it comprises of these elements. But then for the research gap, we found out that majority of the studies in Malaysia on cyberbullying only focus on the children as well as the adults. But then this group of young adults, so when we define young adults, is those between 18 to 43 or 45. Okay, so these are actually the group that involve more in or engage more in the online communication, but then there is a lack of studies that have been done towards this group. So for this research, we would like to highlight more on the experiences of young adults in this cyberbullying problem. Okay, and for the methodology, so we use this Saunders Onion framework. And for this one, for our research philosophy, it is positivist because we focus more on the quantitative part, a little bit on the qualitative. And then for the research approach, so it is a mixed method approach whereby we combine the quantitative and qualitative data and analyze them. As well as for the research strategy, so we use a survey questionnaire, which is self-constructed based on the needs of our research, and it has been structured in 6 sections containing 15 items. And for the time horizon, so this is a cross-sectional study because it was done and the data was gained in a very limited time. As well as this data collection was done using a purposive sampling technique based on several criteria, especially the participant needs to be young adults. And it comes from 148 students in one particular what we call public university in Malaysia. And for the data analysis, all the data have been analyzed qualitatively and quantitatively. And for the quantitative analysis, we use SPSS just to get the descriptive statistics, as well as for the qualitative data. So we analyze this qualitative data thematically based on the Braun and Clark 2006. And later, when we have the potential phrases or identified cyberbullying related terms or phrases that have been given by the respondents, so we analyze them into categories of 5 harassment type as outlined by Rezwan et al. 2020. Okay, and overall, this is what we have for our research design. So next one is for the findings. So I would like to share our finding is that because from the 15 items, we split them into four major findings, which we would like to emphasize that for the prevalence of cyberbullying, almost half of the respondents say they acknowledge that they have been victims of online bullying. And Facebook being the most commonly cited platform as cyberbullying, and 43% of them reported that they experienced cyberbullying from strangers, meaning that strangers post something which is offensive to them. Okay, and for the language used in cyberbullying, the most frequent types of cyberbullying reported are physical related cyberbullying, whereby the victims are being shamed for their body and images, as well as intelligence related, meaning that they have been harassed for their intelligence level. Okay, and the responses included cyberbullying related terms and expressions in both Malay and English, which I'm going to share right after this. And for the coping mechanism, 54% disregard that they would like to what we call
1 minute left.
they disregard the cyberbullying incident, and majority of them choose just to ignore this one, but then they would like to share with friends only, but not reporting to the authorities. And the last one for the awareness and educations, over majority of them says that there should be more awareness on the cyberbullying in Malaysia that should be done by the authorities. For example, there should be stricter law because in our country we don't have specific cyberbullying law, so it should be done. Okay, and the respondents share some other mechanism that should be implemented by the authorities. And for the conclusion, also, this is the findings for the qualitative part, whereby the most frequent types of cyberbullying, these are the phrases shared by the respondent. For example, for physical
Can
related
you wrap up,
cyberbullying.
Shahidatul?
Yes, I can.
Please
So for
wrap up.
in conclusion, so we can say that cyberbullying is actually a disturbingly common occurrences among Malaysian adults, and because once they experience cyberbullying, there are several negative impacts that can be experienced by these victims to the extent that they can even commit suicide. So there's the what you call the implications of this research is that we hope that based on our research, so there are these certain authorities that can take some initiative in order to tackle this problem among young adults in Malaysia. So I think that's wrap up our project of our research. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, Shahidatul. That's very interesting. I have one question. Who are being bullied more, male or female?
From our research, it seems that females have been bullied more, especially on the physical cyberbullying. So they have been shamed physically, Doctor.
Body shamed.
Yes,
Okay.
body shame, Doctor.
Anyone else have questions for Shahidatul? This is a very interesting topic, which is happening right now with ICT, and now we have AI, ChatGPT, etc. to assist. You can easily work on the research and writings using that. So thank you, Shahidatul.
Thank you so much, Prof.
For a fantastic insight into cyberbullying. We'll go on to our last presenter, Assistant Professor Sining Tan.
Yes, I'm here, Professor.
Okay. Please upload and prepare to present.
Hold on for a second. Wait a minute. Okay, good morning, dear professors and all presenters. My research is titled Scientometric Analysis and Critical Review of Research on English for a Specific Purpose. And the co-presenter is Mr. Hu Xiaogang, and another co-author was Professor Madu. And there are 6 parts of this presentation. Let's look at the background first. English for Specific Purpose, or ESP, emerged in the 1960s and becomes one of the most important English language teaching within the applied linguistics. And there are a few previous reviews on the ESP research or literature. However, there is a gap. There is a scientometric analysis of ESP literature from the 2011 to 2022 is from an international perspective is still lacking. Scientometric analysis is a quantitative method to process massive amounts of bibliometric data. Compared with the conventional reviews, it is objective and scientific. It can also visualize the knowledge structures and research trends. So therefore, for this research, the aim is to visualize and identify the research status quo, key research themes, and the emerging trends of ESP research during this period. As for literature review, in the year of 2012, Jones conducted historic overview of the ESP development and divided it into 4 periods. In 2019, Hu conducted SA of ESP research, but his study was focused on Chinese context. Xu, etc., in 2022 conducted an SA of English for academic purposes. However, their study was only focused on one branch of ESP, that's EAP. Therefore, a holistic and systematic review of ESP was still needed. This is the methodology of my study. A dataset of 1,528 articles was obtained from the database of Web of Science core selection. And by using study-space software, this study conducted scientometric analysis of these articles by using 4 analysis techniques. Combining with critical reviews, the research status quo, key themes, and emerging trends were identified. These are the findings and discussions. As per AQoL, the research status quo, the annual publications on ESP during this period is presented in Figure 2. We can see that the number is increasing steadily during these years. And in this figure, Figure 3, we can see the most productive countries in this field, including People's Republic of China, Australia, USA, England. And this table one presents the top 5 countries or regions with high centrality value and burst strength. These 5 countries or regions, including Scotland, Malaysia, Vietnam, New Zealand, and South Africa, showed high centrality value, which means that these countries have high cooperation with other countries internationally. And these 5 regions or countries showed high burst strength values, which means that in the recent years, the publications in these countries were highly cited. We can see that these countries and regions were not overlapping with each other, so indicating that ESP field showed a high international cooperation and authorship. As for the key themes in ESP research, cluster analysis was used to group the keywords that are highly frequent in this field, and 12 major clusters were obtained. For further comparison and critical review, the researcher has categorized these major clusters into 7 main themes of ESP research, such as pedagogy, genre, corpus, needs analysis, teacher, student, and ESP branches. And the last research question is emerging trends. And the keyword burst detection was used to identify the burst. And as we can see, as for the burst strengths, research article and the EAP has the highest strength values, which means that these two keywords are highly frequent during this period. And in terms of burst duration, which means that research articles and business English were attracted a very long academic attention, nearly 5 years. And the most recent academic attention can be identified from the latest burst duration that's after 2020. So we can see that belief and reading comprehension were identified. To know more about the keywords and articles behind these two keywords, the major citing articles of these two words were critically reviewed by the author, and these five articles were the most recently published and also highly cited. And after critical review, it is indicated that these three topics or themes, such as academic literacy, novice teachers, teachers' beliefs or teachers' identity, and the corpus linguistics teaching method, were the new research frontiers in this field. All these findings led us to this conclusion. First of all, ESP research is still undergoing an exponential growth and international cooperation and authorship. And the teacher development, technology assisted corpus teaching, and academic literacy are the new research focus in this field. These findings are consistent with John's prediction in 2012. There are a few limitations to be acknowledged. First of all, this research only used one tool, that is site space. So maybe future studies can adopt more visualization tools. As for the context, this study focused on the international perspective. So future researchers in the future can visualize the more localized context and compare it with the international ones. Okay, that's all for my presentation. Thank you.
Share, Dr. Tan. Anyone from the audience have any questions for Dr. Tan? That was a very interesting topic that you presented.
Thank you.
But it is not my area of research. Anyways, if there is no one in the virtual audience who would like to ask questions, I would like to thank all the presenters for being gracious and for keeping to the time. With that, I wish all of you the success in your academic career and in your research and publication endeavors. Thank you very much. From me, Prof. Guy, UITM, Puncak Alam.
Thank you, Prof.
Bye.
Thanks, Prof. Guy.
Welcome, Prof.
Yeah, I'm delighted that all the participants are kept on time and we started at 8 sharp. Thank you to all. We have next our keynote speaker, Emeritus Professor Dr. Robert Marans. Prof. Marans. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, it's good evening for me.
What time is it in you?
It's nearly 10 o'clock in the evening.
Michigan, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Just a bit.
And I wish I could be there with all of you in wherever you are in Asia. But unfortunately, I have to stay here in Michigan,
right,
in the United States, and I haven't been to Asia since before the pandemic.
Right.
A lot of things happened, obviously, in the past 3 or 4 years, but I was last in talking about this topic that I'll be addressing tonight in Bangkok, and spent a little time in Myanmar. And before that, I was doing research in China, in Xi'an, and all of that has stopped since the pandemic. So I'm staying close to home, but I hope to visit Asia again shortly and come to Indonesia, come to China again, and of course, Malaysia.
Yes, Bob, a bit of introduction. Actually, Prof. Marans was with us in Famagusta way back in 2011, I think. That was like more than 10 years ago. And Prof. Marans is also our IIC editorial team advisor in the advisory board. Prof. Marans, thank you very much for growing up with us for the last 10 years. And you did attempted to come to Malaysia, remember? Way back.
Yes.
you missed a flight. We waited.
Yeah, we were it was for a conference in Bandung.
Yeah.
And unfortunately we had problems with the airlines.
So those were the days, and I believe to those who are not familiar with Prof. Maran's work, he's iconic with quality of life materials, and he has been on it for what, more than 40 years. Yeah, Prof. Marans.
A long time.
Yeah, right. And he had written 10 books and hundreds of articles. And I believe Prof. Marans would like to promote his latest book, which is now up and about. Yeah, Prof. Marans, without further ado, I'll pass on the mic to you. And probably you might want to say something about your new book. Thank you very much, Prof. Over to you.
Yes, well, I can do that as part of my talk. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so what I wanted to do was talk about my current work and my thinking about how we link issues of climate change and environmental sustainability to quality of life research, because this is supposedly a conference dealing with quality of life. And what I've been doing is working in both areas, quality of life for a number of years, but then in the past decade or so, I've been working in the area of climate change and sustainability, and I'll talk more about that in a moment. But with reference to the new book, we have a book coming out with a British publishing house, Edward Elgar, in early next year called the Handbook of Quality of Life Research, Place and Space Perspectives. And it focuses on research methods related to quality of life, particularly with respect to places, and then gets into a number of specific studies and theoretical pursuits covering the role of the environment in contributing to quality of life. So that's something you can look forward to in the next early part of next year. So what I want to do this morning for you and this evening for me is review some of my thinking on the linking of climate change and environmental sustainability to quality of life generally and to quality of life research. And I'm going to present a conceptual model and how it evolved, and then give you a case study of work that we're currently doing at the university, which is in a way designed to move toward the fulfillment of this conceptual model. So with the slides. And my presentation is in two parts. And the first is really an expansion on an earlier conceptual model of quality of life, one that I presented at this conference Asad mentioned in Famagusta, Cyprus, with the Asian Pacific International Conference on Environment Behavior Studies. And then the second part is really how we're trying to test at least a part of that model at the University of Michigan. And then we'll talk about, and specifically the work that we're doing at the University of Michigan, which I hope can be expanded to other universities, not only in the United States, but in other countries as well. So let me begin by talking about this earlier conceptual model on quality of life. And as Dr. Abbasan mentioned, I gave a presentation in Famagusta, Cyprus in 2011 covering this work. And rather than go through that whole presentation, you can read about it in this article that was published in, what is it, Cyber Science Direct, a Presidia Elsevier publication. So essentially, the model said that quality of life is really a function of how we're doing with different aspects of our lives, our family, our marriage, our friendships, our health, financial situation, our work, our job, our leisure time, spirituality, and so forth. But we emphasize, as a group of people interested in the environment, on place. And place is certainly important. And as I indicated, that's the theme of this new book that will be coming out. And what do we mean by place? It's where we live, where we work, where we play, where we shop, where we conduct our daily lives. And we refer to this as the quality of urban life. And that really contributed to a book that was published in 2011, right around the same time, by the title Investigating Quality of Urban Life. And it was an edited book that I did with a colleague in Australia, Robert Stimson.
Sorry, Prof, are you sharing your screen?
Yes, are you seeing it?
Nope.
Oh boy, hold on, let me go back and try to do this again. Are you still there?
Not yet.
Hold on. I'm trying to get back into the conference website. I've lost you all. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear, but we couldn't see.
Okay, I'm having problems getting to my getting to the top. Oh, there you are. I see you now. Hold on. I got that. Can you see the screen now?
All right. Yes. Carry on, Prof.
Okay, now I've lost it. Bear with me. I've got to find my my presentation.
I think we are not seeing the whole slide. I think we just.
Oh, there it is. Hold on. I've got it now.
Yeah, it is being blocked.
Right. There are too many. Okay. So now you see it, right?
Right. Yes. Carry on, Prof.
Yes. This was the basic model that we talked about in 2011, where these various dimensions of life would contribute to our overall quality of life. And as I say, place was the focus of our discussion because we were mostly talking at that time to architects and planners and people involved in the environmental design profession. And a lot of this work was summarized in that paper and in the book, as I said, Investigating Quality of Urban Life. Okay, so you can see everything now, right?
Yes, Prof.
Can you see everything?
Yes, carry on, Prof.
Okay. So I'm really having problems here with the PowerPoint. Okay, so one of the things that we talked about was, in addition to these dimensions of life, family, marriage, friendships, health, and so forth, there may be other things that are important to our overall quality of life experience. And this is where I think that the role of climate change comes into play here. And I think this is becoming increasingly important and certainly an avenue for research for people in the environment behavior field, people doing research related to quality of life. So I first started to think about this after the conference and wrote a paper that was in Habitat International talking about quality of urban life and studies, future linkage opportunities. And this was done in 2014. But since that time, I've been working in the area and trying to address the question, how can climate change impact quality of life in two ways, psychologically and behaviorally? And in terms of psychological links, we can think about what's happening in the world with respect to climate change and how it impacts people's concerns, their worries, their anxieties, and so forth. And these things psychologically certainly affect people's quality of life. So very recently, I came across some data that was done by, it was a survey in nearly 200 countries conducted by Data for Good Meta, Data at Meta and Yale University Program on Climate Change Communications. And this was a survey of Facebook users for these nearly 200 countries. And they asked 3 questions that were in there. How worried are you about climate change? How much do you think climate change will harm you personally? And how much do you think climate change will harm future generations of people? And the responses were very interesting. In the United States, nearly 2/3 of the sample of Facebook users said they were very worried or somewhat worried. More than half said they thought it would change, will harm them personally, a great deal or a moderate amount. And they thought, almost 3/4 thought that they would harm future generations a great amount or a moderate amount. Now, I also looked at the data for selected Asian countries and those in Southeast Asia. And you look at the responses, they're equal to the United States in terms of worry and more. The range from 67%, which I think was, if I'm not mistaken, Japan, but 88%, Sri Lanka. How much do you think it would harm the individual on a personal level? 62 to 78%. And future generations, the numbers were equally high, between 2/3 from the lowest country in Asia to nearly more than 8 in 10 people saying that they were concerned about it impacting future generations. So clearly, it's very important to people throughout the world. And similarly, in the just a week or so ago, in the New York Times International section, there was a big article about climate doom, which they called eco-anxiety. And they talk about what's happened in various parts of the world, the flooding and the fires in Greece and the fires in the United States and the typhoons in Asia and so forth. And there's a great deal of attention being given to this. So clearly, anxieties, worries, concerns impact one's quality of life. But we could also ask the question, how can climate change impact quality of life behaviorally? And we can think of it in this terms, that clearly at the macro level, we can think about the different effects of climate change in terms of floods, forest fires, rainstorms, and typhoons and so forth, impacting where people live and what they think about where they live and where they want to move in the future. But they can also influence where people, how people behave at a local level. Clearly, in extreme heat, one would not want to leave their air-conditioned home, assuming they have air conditioning. And that prevents them from exercising outdoors, maybe going for a walk to shop, and whatever. It influences their behavior in many ways. And that in turn has an impact on one's quality of life. But you can also see that the behaviors of people influence what happens with the climate and the influence of climate change in terms of your driving, your waste prevention, your use of air conditioning, whatever it might be. So the model can be thought of as dealing with both worries, anxieties, concerns, as well as behaviors, and how these things impact quality of life. So again, using the same data from the climate change survey conducted in 2022 of Facebook users throughout the world, there was a question: how willing are you to join an organized group to convince leaders in your country to take action to reduce climate change? And the percent who said they're currently active or they're definitely willing was 20% in the United States. But in South Asia countries, it ranged from 28% to 61%. So clearly, there's a great deal of concern about climate change throughout the world. And we can talk about this new conceptual model where both worries, anxieties, concerns, and behaviors will have a direct effect on quality of life, but indirectly related to climate change. And you can see the arrow going from behaviors to climate change. That's where people can get involved in doing things to deal with climate change, but also it's their behaviors on an individual level or a micro level that could in fact impact climate change. So this is the partial conceptual model that we've been thinking of, and how do we test it and how do we work with it? And here, as you can see, the emphasis on what people do as it impacts climate change is becoming more important. So we can expand that model to think about climate change as it relates to environmental sustainability. And this really reflects what is referred to as the Anthropocene period that we are now living in, where human behavior is impacting both the climate and the ecosystems around us. And this is becoming very important. And we can expand the model even further to talk about people's understanding or knowledge, their awareness of conditions, and their beliefs about the environment, their awareness of what's happening and the consequences of not behaving in an appropriate way, and their understanding of what in fact is going on in the world. And these things obviously can have an impact on what people do, their behaviors. What we refer to here is the culture, and we talk about it as the culture of sustainability. And this is the work that we want to talk about in the first part, and how we our testing have the potential of testing this model through the work that we've been doing at the University of Michigan for the past decade. And there's an opportunity to test it using data from a program called SCIP. What is SCIP? We call it the Sustainability Cultural Indicators Program. And it's defined as a multi-year program designed to measure and track the culture of sustainability on the University of Michigan campus so as to inform, administrators, and others responsible for the day-to-day operations of the university, including its academic teaching programs and research. And we can talk about the rationale for doing this. Why are we doing this? Well, it comes from the belief that societal political will needs to change throughout the world in order to address problems of global warming and environmental sustainability. And theoretically, we know that we have the technological capacity to deal with a reduction in CO2 emissions, reducing energy use, which all in turn is designed to save the planet and improve health, save money, and so forth. But what we're lacking, or we're not strong enough, is the societal and political will and commitment to bring about the change. And the feeling is that both the technological capabilities and the social and political will is needed in order to deal with this problem. So this is where the idea of a sustainable culture, sustainability culture, comes in. And going back to the model, it really involves behaviors, knowledge, commitments, and values of individuals in society, in different communities, and so forth. So let me talk for a moment about the University of Michigan, where we're doing some work along these lines, and give you an overview of what we have here. The university is in the middle of the city of Ann Arbor, which is about maybe 50 kilometers from the city of Detroit, the automobile capital. And it's quite expansive and consists of many campuses, as you can see here. Those campuses are really broken down. The main part of it is in the middle, the central campus, which is broken down into different parts. There's an athletic campus, there's a north campus, there's an east campus medical area, and so forth. And it's a major university in the United States. Just to give you some pictures of it, here's some pictures of both the central campus and the north campus, and then additional pictures. And you can see it's fairly dense. The medical campus has a huge hospital employing many doctors, nurses, researchers, and so forth. The athletic campus is quite large as well, and it's spread out over the city of Ann Arbor. And you can see on the ground, there are lots of people in stadiums, in different parts of the campus, in the central part. And a lot of this is connected by a bus system that moves freely from one part of campus to another. Just to give you some idea of some of the facts, there are almost 400 buildings, 3.5 million square meters of space, 13 square kilometers in size, 51,000 students, and over 50,000 faculty and staff, including those associated with the large hospital complex. It purchases 400 million kilowatt hours of electricity annually, consumes even more than that, and spends $39 million annually to cover the costs of electricity. In turn, it releases more than 475,000 metric tons of greenhouse gases emissions annually. So it's obviously been a big concern of the university, not only from the point of view of dealing with the climate, but from a cost point of view. And there's been a lot of work done over the past few decades, beginning in the early part of the 21st century, focusing on energy conservation. Beginning in 2007, 2008, the university began to think about what role behavior of students, faculty, and staff play in the operations of the university, and what are their feelings. And I and some colleagues were asked to conduct a pilot study to begin to look at this issue of human behavior and its relationship to energy conservation. There was a program expanded soon after that that focused not only on energy but on waste. The whole issue of waste prevention became extremely important. And then in 2009 and 2010, the university spent a year doing what they called an integrative assessment to see what, in fact, was happening in different parts of the university with respect to various things related to sustainability and climate change. And that led to a program called Planet Blue, which focused on sustainability, and the idea of getting students, faculty, and staff engaged in this program was started at that time and continues to this day. Out of this integrative assessment came the idea of the Sustainability Cultural Indicators program, which I want to talk about in more detail. And that began in 2012. And then in 2019 and 2020, the new president of the university at the time created a commission to focus on carbon neutrality. So I really want to talk about the integrative assessment and the SKIP program in a little more detail. So the purpose of the integrative assessment was to collaboratively develop practical ideas and goals to guide sustainable campus operations at the university. And the structure was set up in such a way that there were teams, student-led teams, faculty-led teams of students, anywhere from 6 to 8 students, dealing with buildings, energy, transportation, land and water, food, and purchasing and recycling. And then there was a team dealing with culture. And each of these teams did a study of what was going on at our university, as well as other universities in the corporate world, and spent a whole year dealing with this over 2 semesters, reporting to administrative people in this integration team, steering committees, stakeholders, right up to the president of the university. So you can see the highlights were 7 faculty-led analysis teams of 6 to 8 students hired as research assistants. Dozens of operations people were involved. There were town hall meetings and events which drew several hundred people from around campus. Nearly 200 comments and ideas were submitted via the web. And it involved over 100 organizational units on campus and 27 academic programs, as well as bringing in consultants from outside organizations, including utility companies and so forth. So as I said, that was done over 2 semesters. One semester looked at what the university is doing to significantly advance campus sustainability and why they should consider these actions. And finally, the second phase, how can these actions be carried out given the realities of costs, benefits, and uncertainties? And when then can the actions be feasibly implemented? And it turns out there were 4 areas that came out of it. One dealing with climate action, another dealing with waste prevention, a third dealing with healthy environments, and a fourth dealing with community awareness. And out of this, these themes, there were goals set up. This was in 2012 for what would happen in 2025, which is clearly approaching. And climate action was primarily dealing with energy issues, both building use and transportation. Waste prevention was reuse, recycling, composting. Healthy environments were both protection of the land as well as producing healthy foods. And finally, community awareness, which was involved engagement, education, and evaluation. And this is the part that resulted in the SKIP program. So what do we mean by a culture of sustainability? We talk about it as a culture in which individuals are aware of major environmental and social economic challenges, are behaving in sustainable ways, and are committed to a sustainable lifestyle for both the present and the future. And the cultural team report really talked about these goals, and we talked about three things in terms of recommendations: training and education throughout the university, the engagement of faculty, staff, and students, and then a whole program for assessing and monitoring cultural sustainability on campus and checking it over time and seeing how it's changing. And that's what led to the development of this Sustainability Cultural Indicators program, referred to as SKIP. And we can think of it in terms of what's been happening. There's the planning and implementing of programs for engagement and education on campus, moving toward a culture of sustainability. And then there's the measurement, monitoring, and evaluation, which feeds back to the programs and the different operations for the university. So in terms of engagement, there are a number of different organizations that were set up for the faculty and staff, as well as for the students, some of which overlap. I won't go into these in detail, but these organizations have expanded, and you have different parts of the university actively participating in them, many of them led by students at the university. And the evaluation and tracking was highlighted by the president of the university at the time. And she said, we're going to accomplish many of these things, and we will scientifically measure and report our progress and behavior as a community. Specifically, we will turn to the Institute for Social Research, the world's largest survey research organization and a hallmark of the university. And the ISR researchers will measure the sustainability attitudes and activities of students and faculty and staff, as well as identify where we can improve. And she made this statement in 2011, and it's becoming more important. So the SKIP program really asks the question, what are we going to measure, and how do we measure it, and how do we know it's changing? And we were going to do this with respect to what people knew, their awareness, the behaviors, their levels of engagement and commitment, and their values. And we were going to do this generally as well as specifically for the university. And going back to the themes, we would do these with respect to travel and transportation, waste reduction and conservation, the natural environment, sustainable foods, and climate change. And as I say, these relate back to the goals that were established in 2012 that were to be achieved by 2025. So what have we done? We essentially used survey research and conducted web surveys annually and then biannually with each year about 2,500 students, 2,500 to 3,000 students, undergraduate students, a handful of graduate students, staff, faculty, and an undergraduate panel. And the panel was very important because we wanted to follow not only cohorts of students, but individual students as they go through their 4 years at the university. And that represents the panel. And the questionnaire was largely overlapping, but there were things that were unique to the students and things that were unique to the faculty and staff. And each year we would get a response rates from 20 to 40%, depending on the year. And initially we set up these topical areas, the survey modules, and asked a series of questions about knowledge, disposition, behaviors, and so forth. And you can see the approximate number of questions that we asked. The questionnaires, as I said, were done over the web and took about 15 minutes to complete. But the challenge for us was creating indicators. And we did this by combining questions or using single questions. So the first example of indicator A was based on a single question. One that I can think of is behavior with respect to travel to and from the campus. We asked the question, how do you typically travel from home to and from the university? I'm sorry, someone say something?
No, carry on, Prof.
Did I go on?
Yes, carry on, Prof.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But then we also developed indicators combining questions, anywhere from 2 to 5 or 6 questions. And this is how we created the indicators. And you can see the indicators that we have dealing with travel behavior and conservation behavior, waste prevention behavior, and so forth. We have questions about awareness in these topical areas, questions about engagement, commitment, dispositions, how they evaluate specific initiatives that have been taking place on our campus, knowledge in terms of environmental literacy and the importance of climate change, and whether people believe in climate change and so forth. And these go back to the major ideas that we had in the conceptual model, the behaviors, the awareness, the knowledge, the concerns, and so forth. Okay, so as I said, we've done web surveys of students, faculty, and staff occurring annually between 2012 and 2015, and biannually between 2017 and 2021. So this has been the process that we used initially. And I won't go into this in great detail, but we worked with a steering committee. We did focus groups. We designed and tested the questionnaires. We administered them by the web. We analyzed reports and provided feedback to the various users of the data, that is, people operating the university, and then wrote reports and so forth. And you can see the number of people we dealt with, and we continued this process in year 2. And again, we got this time we were able to get a panel of students, that is second year, third year, and fourth year students who participated in the earlier study. And we continued this process right up through 2021. Now, our original plan was to do this every year for about 10 years and look at changes that would take place in these various indicators and individual questions over time. But in fact, we weren't seeing much change during the first 4 years. There was some change, and working with the university, we decided to go to a biannual or every other year program of research. And we even had to modify this because we did the first 4 years. There was another major survey conducted by the university in the fall of 2017. So we did our work during the winter semester, which changed the structure of some of the questions and the wording. Then, of course, we ran into COVID and the importance of this President's Commission on Carbon Neutrality and their report. And out of that came the idea that we would not only do the main campus here in Ann Arbor, Michigan, but we would also do it at the university satellite campuses, which are in 2 smaller cities in the state of Michigan. So that's been what we've been doing to date. And each of these studies, each of these surveys, the past surveys, have been put up in reports, and they can be found at this website if you're interested. And I'll give you this website later on. So we have a series of reports that reflect what's happened that year and the changes that have taken place from previous years. As I said in the last survey, we added the satellite campuses of the university. So we have a total of 8 reports that are on the website. Now, let me give you a sampling of some of the findings, just to give you an idea of what we've been doing. One of the questions dealt with climate change and whether it's happening or not. And you can see the numbers from early on, from 2013 up to 2021, are very high for the students, 90%, going up to 95%. But then we asked the question, how sure are you that climate change is happening? And those that said extremely sure, it went from 60% to over 80% over the past 8 years. And then the question about, do you think climate change is caused mostly by human activity or natural causes? The number who say mostly by human activity range from a little under 50% to over 75%. So clearly there's growing awareness among our students that climate change is happening. We asked the question, is climate change important to you, or how important is it to you personally? And you can see the number, the percentage that's say extremely or very important went from about half, a little over 50%, to up to 80% in our most recent survey. We asked a question about their engagement in sustainability activities off campus. That includes their voting behavior, whether they belong to some community organization or club, and whether they've given money to some organization dealing with climate change and so forth. And those numbers started out quite low, but they've gone up quite a bit over the past 10 years. And mostly for faculty, they've been mostly engaged, but students and staff have increased as well. We asked another question about how committed they are to climate change, to sustainability. And you can see there's been an increase there for both faculty, students, and staff over the 9-10-year period. From our most recent study, we asked questions about their understanding of carbon neutrality. And here we were able to compare students, faculty, and staff across the 3 campuses of the university. And you can see that for most of the highest levels of awareness are those in the Ann Arbor campus, and less so in the other campuses because they had been ignored up till very recently. And now they're beginning to catch up. And in the next survey, we'll find out how much they've catch up. They've caught up since 2021. So we can say, what are the benefits of the SKIP program and the use of its data? And we talk about it for the university administrators and the governing bodies of the university. It helps monitor progress in changing the culture of sustainability among members of the university community. What do students, faculty, and staff know? What do they do? And how committed are they to helping the university become a more sustainable community? For the university operations and personnel, facility managers, and so forth, the data that we've collected informs and guides their operations in the running of the university in a sustainable, cost-effective way on a day-to-day basis. We can also use the data to evaluate one-of-a-kind sustainability initiatives. In 2017, the athletic department initiated a zero waste program at the university stadium. And that is, rather than throwing everything into trash, they put out recycling bins and composting bins and promoted recycling. So in 2018, we asked questions about people's participation in the program, whether they were aware of it, and of course, whether or not they went to any of the football games. The SKIP data can also be used to test other sustainability initiatives on a trial basis before implementing them university-wide. And we can give you some examples of that. The one idea was to try to introduce composting into one of the student resident halls beyond the dining facilities. And so it was tried at one resident hall, and we used our data to show that the people in that resident hall knew more about composting, participated in it, compared to people in the other resident halls, which did not have composting. On the basis of that, they expanded the program throughout the university. So that's the testing. And finally, we can test the receptivity of new ideas for making the university more sustainable. There's been talk about reducing the subsidy for faculty and staff in terms of university parking. And we wanted to see how many of the faculty and staff agreed to accept that reduction. And there were surprisingly a number that said they would in order to make the university more sustainability. That program has not been initiated yet. For university faculty and researchers, the SKIP program provides historic and current material for teaching and courses dealing with sustainability and climate change, and provides opportunities to develop and test models such as the one we discussed earlier, that is exploring relationships using the SKIP data. And for students, it creates research opportunities for them. They can participate in the work. We hire students to do the work. And it creates learning opportunities for them about sustainability through their coursework that deal with the question of sustainability and research methods using the SKIP data. And for everyone, it raises the level of awareness about sustainability and carbon neutrality in general and specifically at our university campus. So I wanted to talk about two things. One is this idea of testing initiatives and then creating research opportunities for students. As I showed earlier, the university is broken up into different regions and subregions. And on the right-hand side, you can see the number of students, respondents in each of these groups. Very few in the medical center, only 9, but many in the central campus area. And we can try things in one part of campus to see how well they're working. And if they're successful, then we can expand them to other parts of the university, other regions and subregions. The other thing I wanted to talk about is a paper that was done by one of our students who we hired, where he wrote about linking sustainability-related awareness and behaviors, sort of building on parts of the model that I just presented. And this paper was published a few years ago in the International Journal of Sustainability and Higher Education. So going forward, I mentioned that we have been doing these things annually, and now we're doing them every 3 years. And the last one was done in the fall of 2021. And there we are today, and we're planning for the next one in 3 years from 2021, next year about this time. We'll be launching them again at the University of Michigan campus in Ann Arbor and its satellite campuses. So we're beginning to plan for that now by meeting with various users of the data, people in campus operations, student groups, and so forth. But we're also talking about expanding it to other universities, not only in the United States, but elsewhere in the world. And here's the thing that we're considering. We talk about the University of Michigan study, and we know that the Technical University in Monterrey, Mexico, has conducted a study of their campuses using many of our questions and many of our procedures on their campuses. So there's an overlap there. And our thought is to have other universities in the United States and and elsewhere in the world conduct similar questions, things that would have similar questions to ours, core issue questions, but also things that would be unique to their university. And as I showed a moment ago, there are benefits to undertaking the SKIP program. So going back to the model, we are currently testing some of these relationships here. And ultimately, we'd like to be able to link in quality of life, including places and other life domains in a consideration. But that's work to be done in the future. So with that, let me complete my presentation, address questions, and if you want to find out more about this work, here's the website on our past work, or you can contact me directly through my email. So, do we have any questions?
Right. Prior to that, Prof, thank you very much for a very interesting and very comprehensive speech. Within 1 hour, you managed to condense almost all the significant things that you have done for the past, since our Famagusta days in 2011. And
well, we've been thinking about how do we blend
correct. Yeah.
quality of life and what's going on in the world today.
What I'm trying
with
to say,
respect to global warming, climate change, and so forth.
What I'm trying to say is that to those who are not aware, I think you have actually wrapped up elegantly within your 1 hour presentation. And it's simple, it's comprehensive, and it's complete. And it does, I think, ignite interest, especially with your intention to collaborate with other universities to use the script, as you have mentioned earlier. And I think there are many universities that would like to emulate and perhaps collaborate with what you are doing at the moment.
Well, we're doing that with the university in Monterrey, Mexico. We'll be having a panel discussion at a meeting in February in California about this work and talking about how it can be expanded to other universities. That's the important thing, because we think of the university as a community, and there's no reason why this kind of work couldn't be done in cities, in towns, in large businesses, corporations, which have many buildings, many campuses, and so forth. And I think it's very important work and very timely. And we hope that it would be picked up in Malaysia and Indonesia as well.
Right. I think most of the universities would like to have some sort of studies done in collaboration with the University of Michigan.
Right. And it does create up. I mean, it's really applied research.
Yes.
It's using research methods that many of us use in our academic studies and so forth, but it also has significant policy implications for doing things on the ground, for informing decisions that are made by university administrators, people running universities on a day-to-day basis. And that's the policy and practical implications of the research.
I see you have a timeline there, and of course research, there's no full stop in research. I mean, you just you evaluate, and further on you just move on. How do you wish to implement once you have actually condensed the findings? How do you wish to expand further?
Well, we first of all, we put out the reports, which are very comprehensive, and then we put out an executive summary, which I should have showed you, that highlights the major findings from each year. And these are widely distributed through the university newspapers, through emails from different parts of the university to departments and so forth. And we give a lot of talks around the campus. So many people are aware of what we're doing and the importance of it. And the support for doing this research is viewed by the administration and is funding the work. They think there are many things that they have to spend money on to deal with sustainable practices and issues of carbon neutrality, but this is a relatively small cost compared to these other major expenses.
Right. Maybe there are questions from the floor. Please raise your hands if there are anyone who would like to ask questions. While waiting for the questions, Prof, would like to elaborate further on your latest book?
The book that is coming out,
yes,
in early part of next year, is builds on the work that was done in the 2011 book, but it has a major section dealing with the role of place for older adults. And we know throughout the world that the population of older people is increasing, and more the environment is an important part of their future in terms of where they live, how they get around, and so forth. So we have several chapters dealing with research on the quality of life for older people and the role of place in their lives.
Right. Certainly, it's beneficial for the elderly because I think we have an aging population now, especially if you're talking about countries like Japan. I think they are not
right.
I think they are not growing anymore, actually. Right.
That's true. Well, there's a growth in certainly in the United States and in other countries, in China too, and more and more we have to deal with their health, and as well as where they're going to live and how they're going to move around. So the links between place and the behavior and treatment of older people is increasingly important. And that's, as I say, a major section of the book. In addition to the role of the environment more generally, and the role of nature-based planning in quality of life and so forth.
I noticed that you use a lot of surveys from the Facebook or from the media.
Yes.
From the social media.
Right. There's a lot of data coming across now dealing with issues related to climate change and sustainability. And I showed some of that just recently. I continually reading things about it on the web and in the newspapers.
Right. Just curious about the data that you obtain from the social media, because I mean what we're getting is that the respondents, I mean, how their background and so on. I mean, do you have categorize them according to, in terms of age, gender, and so on, or is it just?
No, I don't have those data. I don't. Can you still see my screen share?
Yes.
I put up a chart that I found from this meta survey, and looking at the countries in terms of those that had moderate to high worry about climate change. And you can see that, and I've just highlighted the ones from Asia: Japan, Vietnam, Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia, India, and Thailand. We're all there among the 2,200 countries that were contacted. So this is an important chart, and shows that this area for future research and how it relates to quality of life is going to become increasingly important during the next decade or so.
So, meaning the responses was not categorized into different categories, for example, into various age groups or gender, yeah?
No, that isn't reported in this this work by the Meta or the Facebook sample.
Right. Okay.
I suppose that it's available But there is a website that that has all this information on it.
Right. Right. Any questions from the floor, please? I'm sure some of the participants are also involved with at least climate change and quality of life.
Well, again, if anyone wants to contact me, you have my email address. It's here, it's on the bottom, just mirans@umich.edu. I'll be happy to answer any questions and advise you on what might be done.
Right. Right. If there are no more questions, I'd like to recall our time during our Famagusta days back in 2011, whereby we thrashed out the evaluation sheet to get the marks for the various papers. Prof, do you still remember that we didn't it was inconclusive until you took the evaluation sheet back to Michigan and you emailed back.
Right.
After refining further, because we were arguing about what are the points and so on. So I like to mention here that we are still using the evaluation sheet as refined by you, Prof. Thank you very much. It has been
You're quite welcome, and have a good day and have a good rest of the conference.
Right.
And now I can go to sleep.
Okay, Bob.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you very much.
We'll be in touch.
Yes, we'll be in touch. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Right. To the rest, for the breakout 5, it is actually scheduled for 11:30, and the breakout chair has been informed at 11:30, unless if you like to forward the time,